it's not our workload that's killing us. It's our thought load. And so I've coined this new term, thought load, and it's an equation. 2 things on the top and 1 on the bottom. So let me tell you what they are. First, the heavy, heavy cognitive load we're under because of how much we're trying to pay attention to and how distracted we are and how many hours of meetings and how many news articles. Our brains are saturated. That's too much flour. That's the one challenge. The second challenge, the emotional baggage we are trying to walk around the workplace with. Our society is emotionally dysregulated. People are anxious. People are angry. People are hostile. We're seeing it everywhere, and it comes into the workplace. People are taking everything personally. They are in the drama and triggered. So we're trying to cope with all of that. But the load part is that we're trying to cope with all of it as our energy reserves get lower and lower. We're not sleeping well. We're not eating well. We're really exhausted. We're burned out. And so the weight and the burden of the cognitive load and the emotional baggage is even heavier. And so the fun of the book is realizing that we've got great books about focus and great books about emotions and great books about resilience, but I don't think we have anything that's helping managers understand that this is a system where each one of these problems today is amplifying the others. So as our energy goes down, one of the things we know is one of the first things to go is our ability to calibrate what to pay attention to and what not to. So as our energy goes down, that cognitive load goes up. As our energy goes down, our likelihood of experiencing something as emotional or threatening or, he's out to get me goes up. As our anxiety goes up, we tend to try and multitask as a way of dealing with that heavy cognitive load. But we know one of the biggest outcomes of multitasking is increased anxiety and reduced energy. So the new book is a formula for managers for how they can first get their own thought load down. And then how do you lead a team in a way where the most important thing you're doing is managing people's thought load so that these smart, accountable, awesome people can actually do the job they're there to do. But right now, I think managers are contributing to people having an extremely high thought load. It's why we're really not getting as much done. It's why productivity numbers in our economy are terrible. They're not good at all. So we feel like we're doing way too much work. And I would say we're not accomplishing very much work at all. We're doing too many things. We're worrying about too many things. But very little of that energy is actually going into creating outputs and outcomes that affect the world. So that's the recipe in the new book. I'm just finishing the first draft right now, but it takes a long time before a book hits bookshelves. But I'll be sprinkling these ideas everywhere. If you subscribe to my newsletter at lianedavey.com, there'll be lots of information, little drips and jabs and ideas. All year I'm doing my articles and my blogs, and my YouTube channel is all of these ideas leading up to the book. So there's lots for people to learn. You don't have to wait for the book to get some of these tips.
How do you define wisdom in your life?
It's such an interesting question because, to me, wisdom, when I think of wise people, I think of people with a lot of experience, that have lived a life, right? Sometimes we'll say, oh, that young person is wise beyond their years, and so you've got people that really are deep thinkers at an early age. For me, wisdom is all about sharing experience and a life well lived, right? I think wisdom is the culmination of your life's journey. What were some of the experiences that shaped your life, that shaped who you are and the community that you serve? You and I are both great fans of Marshall Goldsmith, right?
Yes.
And whenever I talk to Marshall, his life experience and the way that he is able to share what he's learned, to me, that's wisdom, right? It's not just knowing a lot of stuff, it's sharing that experience. How do you take that knowledge and that wisdom and share it with the people around you? And no one does it better than Marshall. And I will tell you that the reason that I said yes to your email is because Marshall taught me that when people ask for help, or they ask you to endorse a book, or they ask you for your opinion, there's only one answer, and the answer is always yes.
Wow.
Now, I wasn't always that way. I think a lot of people think that wisdom is acquiring a lot of knowledge and keeping it to yourself for your advantage, right? I know stuff you don't know, and that gives me the upper hand, right? I think true wisdom is gaining a lot of great knowledge and then making sure that you share it with people that need it and ask for it. So, I was so touched that you thanked me for responding to your email. I'm thinking you should thank Marshall, because he's the one that taught me to say yes to all those things. Isn't that interesting, how wisdom cascades, wisdom ripples.
Wow.
And it was from Marshall to me to you.
Yeah. And Chester, because of that kind gesture that you did to us, it's really hard for my wife and I to ever say no to anyone that asks us for help. And this one also. And so every time that someone asks us for help, and even if we are busy with something, we're trying to delay to saying yes at a later time, but we're always trying to do it as much as we could do. And Vivian always told me it's all because of Chester. And
well, and see, that's how wisdom gets transferred, right?
Yeah.
It's from person to person to person, those acts of kindness. I am such a fan of random acts of kindness. It costs you nothing to be kind. It costs you nothing to hold the door or help somebody with their packages, or give them a kind word or a pat on the back. It was interesting. Just last night, my wife and I were at the grocery store, and we were buying various and sundry things, for the next few days. And the woman at the checkout was just delightful. And often, jobs like that, they're hourly jobs, and they kind of survive the day, get the paycheck, go home. She was so engaging. She was so friendly and so lovely that we have a tradition in our family. Let's see if I can find one that makes sense here. We have these little gratitude stones that I carry with me. And she was so wonderful. I said, hey, I've got a little gift for you. It's a good luck gratitude stone. And she goes, oh, really, for me? And I said, yeah, it's a stone because a stone in the pond makes the water ripple, just like your wonderful smile and your wonderful positivity. So I hope it brings you good luck. And she goes, oh my gosh, I will carry this with me everywhere. And I thought, I buy these by the hundreds, by the way. And, they cost $1 or whatever. It took 20 seconds to have that conversation, and to then see her smile and put that stone on her register, and to know that she'll carry it with her. Why not? Why wouldn't you? And
Wow.
I love just little random acts of kindness. And my wife said, well, you made her day. And I said, I know my wife knows this. I set a goal to uplift a stranger every day.
Beautiful.
So somebody I come across, can I do something kind for them? Can I give them a kind word? Can I give them a little gratitude stone? And you know this because you do this. Not only does it make their day happy, it makes your day happy. I mean, you always feel good. When you say yes to those people, you and your wife, of course it lifts them up. It also lifts you up, doesn't it? I mean, you feel great about being of service and helping somebody.
Well, this is where the neuroscience comes in really handy, because I have learned the different areas of my brain that I can use in better ways through the neuroscience. For example, I now know that if I take on too much and if there's too much stimulation, the stress curve and the impact on my goal direction, empathy, clarity, memory, all the executive functions from the prefrontal cortex, the more I take on, the more the capabilities will be impaired. So I have learned to stay in this zone of stimulation and stress to not go over the curve where it becomes so much that I can't think clearly anymore. So the neuroscience has really helped me understand my thinking and where it gets to be a challenge and why. And I think that is the incredible benefit of learning how the brain works, because we suddenly begin to understand why we do the things we do and why some of the things work and why some of the things don't work, because it is related to neuroscience.
Wow.
And so, so I've learned to not overstimulate myself so that I don't lose, my executive function capabilities. But I've also learned that, I can't keep everything in here. And so, there's another sort of researcher, her name is Annie Murphy Paul. If you get a chance to get her book, The Extended Mind. The Extended Mind, Annie Murphy Paul.
Okay.
It's a very, very good book that helps us understand that in modern times, our brain can't keep that stuff in here anymore. We've just way overextended our capabilities to think clearly. And so the extended mind is the philosophy that we need to offload what's in here into other areas. And so having a to-do list, a vision board, a whiteboard where you can move things around, things that become visual, help us offload what's in here in terms of thoughts.
Wow.
And frees up space. So I have learned to offload so that I only keep in here what I need in this moment.
Wow. And that will happen.
So that I don't get distracted about the next thing. And it's like, that's offloaded already. The next thing is offloaded. It's already in a file. It's on my calendar. It's on my to-do list, on a sticky note. It's in a reminder. So that's already handled. So my brain doesn't have to hold that now in here while I'm talking to you.
Wow. Thank you so much.
So that book is mind-blowing. It's fabulous. It's extremely well written. Lots of stories, and not sort of so scientific that she lose the reader. But I can highly recommend it.
Absolutely. Annie Murphy Paul, right? And the book
Annie Murphy Paul.
And the
yes.
book, The Extended Mind.
The Extended Mind.
I will
yes.
definitely look forward to that book, and I also look forward to contact her and send your message to her. You are the one who introduced me to the
Yes,
to her
you
works.
can tell her that you can tell her there's a fan club out there in the coaching world that she might not be aware of, and we love her work and her research, and we use it all the time in coaching. So
Wow.
if you get to talk to her, you can say there's a big group of people out there that love your work.